Before we begin, I want to announce that the second book in the Megacosm, The Norikomi, is available for pre-order right now. So go check it out wherever books are sold. And now back to the video. Hello again, this is Victor James, author of the Megacosm, and I want to talk about some news that hasn't been getting much press, and this is the official sequel to The Last Starfighter. But I get it, The Last Starfighter came out like 40 years ago, so there aren't many young people who are even born yet. Heck, some of the parents aren't even born yet, so it makes sense that The Last Starfighter sequel wouldn't create a buzz. But it should, because the original Last Starfighter was actually pretty great. For those who haven't seen The Last Starfighter, it was about a poor high school kid named Alex Rogan who lives in a trailer park and spends most of his time playing an arcade game called Starfighter. And it's as if the writers anticipated gamers' secret desires. The Starfighter game is in fact a training simulator for the Star League. When Alex achieves the highest score in the game, he is visited by the game's creator, an alien named Centauri, who whisks him off to space to fight in a war between the Ryland Star League, who are being invaded by the menacing Kodan Empire led by the malevolent Zerg. And while the graphics are highly outdated in 2026, at the time The Last Starfighter was actually on the cutting edge of sci-fi graphics. And it actually told a pretty decent story, as Alex was not this automatic legendary hero who just jumps into the fray. In fact, I remember being traumatized when Zerg contacts the Star League and publicly executes a spy. And this is why Gen X is so tough, because this was actually marketed to children. I mean, we watched this at like 5 or 9 years old. And in the movie, this actually freaked Alex out so much that he actually tucked tail and ran home after seeing it. So it actually took time for Alex to take his heroic journey, and The Last Starfighter really was a fun movie that played on my generation's obsession with space, that we actually got such a slew of teenage space movies like Space Camp, Explorers, and Flight of the Navigator. So it really was a fun time being a kid in the 80s. And The Last Starfighter ended up leaving room for sequels. So 40-year-old spoiler alert warning here, but Alex eventually finds the spine and saves the galaxy, but the Star League is decimated. Alex is asked to stick around and rebuild the League along with his girlfriend Maggie, who he brings from Earth. Plus his little brother Lewis starts playing Starfighter video game so he can join the League as well. Well, now we get a sequel, in a sense, because it's in the comics. According to Bleeding Fool, the company, Mad Cave Studios, has teamed up with the original writer Jonathan Butel to write a comic sequel to his work. First of all, I have to give it up to Jonathan because he is currently 76 or 77 years old, and he is still passionate about a story he wrote and brought to the screens 40 years ago. That's just awesome to me. In the Bleeding Fool article, it says, Jonathan Butel shares the excitement about returning to the world of The Last Starfighter, chronicling and expanding the heart-over-hardware adventures of a trailer park hayseed as he saves the whales, the universe, and those he loves with Mad Cave's talented team has been a blast. And Jonathan also collaborated with some well-known artists from the series, and the cover art actually is pretty cool as we see Alex embrace his destiny as a starfighter. And the premise of the new Starfighter is, small-town teenager Alex Rogan has already saved multiple worlds, but that was only the beginning of the story. 40 years after the cult classic movie that pioneered CGI and inspired generations of fans, an all-new story picks up from the end credits and takes off from the stars. Now the leader and sole member of the Star League, Alex must rebuild the galaxy's only defense against Zerg and the Kodan Armada. Introducing a new cast of starfighters alongside fan-favorite faces and new killers and cutthroats in the shadow employ of the Kodan, The Last Starfighter launches a sci-fi legacy to new heights. Okay, that was a little tough to read, but one of the writers, Benjamin Robb, echoes my own sentiments on the news of this sequel. He says, back in the 80s, The Last Starfighter was ultimate fantasy for every kid who grew up playing arcade games. Each quarter we fed into these machines was a ticket to a galaxy where we got to be the heroes of our own stories. It was kind of a wish fulfillment that children of all ages can still relate to today. As a lifelong fan of the movie, I'm honored to be a part of the team continuing this adventure for a new generation of starfighters, both young and old. And since I was there, I agree. It really did ignite your imagination to think of all those games you were playing in the arcade were actually leading up to some space adventure. This is how kid adventure movies should make you feel. I usually crap on sequels from the 80s, but just the fact that the original creator, Jonathan Butel, is involved makes me give this a pass. And honestly, I've never heard of the company that's bringing back The Last Starfighter, Mad Cave Studios, so let's give their website a look. So it looks like Mad Cave Studios is a mix of indie and licensed comics. I see some well-known series that they have, such as Speed Racer and a spin-off Racer X. I also see Gotcha Man, which is a cool anime series from the 90s if you guys haven't seen that yet. They also have a pulp icon, the Phantom, as well, which I believe is public domain now. And there is a Last Starfighter bundle, so they sell both physical and digital comics. Oh man, they even have Flash Gordon coming out too. So it looks like Mad Cave Studios is for real, and it's cool they're offering free digitals as well. So if you're interested in The Last Starfighter, any of the comics on this site, check out madcavestudios.com. And no, Mad Cave Studios is not paying me for this. I'm discovering them for the first time just as you are. But hopefully, and I'm praying that they can do The Last Starfighter justice. And I want to remind you about my website, themegacosm.com. Here you can buy my first book in the Megacosm called Fiasco Adventures. And it's also the second book in a novelette called The Mark that's available for digital for 99 cents. And also a reminder that my book, The Narikame, the third book in the Megacosm, is arriving May 8th. I'm really excited about people to read this. I'm actually so excited that I actually have the first chapter of the Narikame available for free on the website. So you can go ahead and read the first chapter of the Narikame to see if you actually want to buy the book before it comes out on May 8th. And another announcement I want to say is that I'm actually selling merch now. So on my megacosm.com store, you can actually buy the Fiasco Adventure logo shirt and a baby onesie with the Fiasco logo on it. And you can also buy my imprint logo t-shirt. And I got them as cheap as I could, which is $20.44. Don't know where the 44 cents came from, but that's as cheap as I can get it. And I hope you enjoy it. I bought a couple myself and they feel great. So go to themegacosm.com, you can sign up. And I will have discounts for people who sign up. But you can also buy my books there, and it's all a one-stop shop. And you can read my short stories like the Narikame free. But that's all I gotta say about this. God bless you and keep you. That's it, I'm done.